master step.
Welcome to the Urban Pride live stream special event. I am co-host of Black Republican, Black Democrat Jamar Nelson.
And I'm Pat1 Lawrence, the other half.
And to my right.
And I am Reverend Tim Christopher of the African American Heritage Gun Club.
And you host one of your own podcasts.
And we also host Black Minds Unchained, also with that. So
I want to thank everyone that is watching the live stream and that is here in person with us. We want to first of all talk about the urban. Oh, we have our. He's going to come.
I'm just a chopped liver here.
I seen a black dude down there. I didn't know who it was. He was blending in. And with us on stage is Lacey Johnson, who is currently running for United States Congress right now. And this is CD5.
CD5, yes.
Right now.
Yes.
So, we want to right now thank the Urban Pride and talk about some of the things that Urban Pride is trying to do in the community, uplifting black pride and trying to combat gun violence and violence in the African American community. And that's one of the reasons why I wholeheartedly stand down, Pat.
And same here. I think it's great when members in the community and of the community are out doing some economic development and showing empowerment, and that we can do things to improve the quality of life in our community, and actually not relying on others or relying so much on government, but relying on ourselves and the ingenuity that we have within our communities to uplift our own communities. So just want to thank Laverne for inviting me to this and inviting all of us and putting this together.
And you would have to throw in that little crack about the government because
of course, we're going to talk about the government.
Oh, please.
well,
especially this week.
I appreciate the young man. He came to my church. We sat out. We was able to talk about what he's trying to do, and I feel that what he is doing in the community is awesome. And we need more people like him bringing up the rear end and in this case, the front end of the community and going out there and just making sure that everything is done correctly. That's what I like about the young man. So I appreciate him having me here also. Thank you very much.
Well, again, as anyone that watches our show, this is hard-hitting. We'll ask real questions and that are asked. So, let's go. Thursday night, there was a little of a upheaval in town. Folks couldn't get around. I don't know, something was going on. What happened?
I don't know. What did happen?
There was a bunch of folks downtown acting up.
Well, from his perspective, people were acting up. Our president, our leader, was in town. Our president.
Your president.
And I was in line, I got in line around 10:30.
Crazy.
So first time I've ever stayed in a line longer than an hour, but it was well worth it. I got 11 of my friends together and we said, hey, we're going to go see the president and we're going to go here and go to one of the
high school kids?
Well, yeah, it was like a pep rally. That's how I explained it to people at work and other people. It was like getting your friends together and going to a big pep rally or homecoming or something of that nature.
I got another name for it, but that's all right.
It was
me too.
And it was a good experience because it was getting in line and just waiting with thousands of other supporters, people with their red hats, and then also me being African American, and there were other African Americans who were standing in line.
All six of y'all.
But a lot of people were coming over and they were like, "Thanks for coming," and wanting to meet.
Who told y'all thanks for coming?
Actually, I had quite a few people actually come up to me and
that's the part I don't understand. Why people come over and tell you thanks for coming.
Do you not have the right?
Do you not have the right to be in the same venue that they're in? Did they actually have? Did you go over to anybody else and say thanks for coming? No.
Well,
I mean,
that's one way of looking at it.
You understand what I'm saying?
Of course, that's their way of looking at it.
Well, that's the problem right there. Exactly what you just said. See, the problem is with these Republicans is they don't want to come down and meet the rubber on the road and open the door and let us in and really do something. Because I can tell you right now, over in North Minneapolis, like I always bring us back to Jeff Johnson. Whomever was Jeff Johnson's campaign plan committee or whatever, needs to be fired and should not have a right to run another campaign at all, because he did not come into the black community. He did not. He came over there one time, and he came over there but one time, but he didn't put no money. He didn't bring any money into the. He didn't put no money into the black.
Our studio's in a white neighborhood.
I talked to him. I talked to the man, and I know what he did and he didn't do. So
he reached out,
okay.
and I was working behind the scenes with him, so I know he reached out. But let me respond to this. Thank you for coming. You mentioned that they don't open the door and welcome you in. If you open your door and welcome somebody in your house and they came in, you're going to say, thanks for coming. So it was reflective of them opening the door, welcoming them in. So
welcome.
When you tell somebody to come to your house,
open the door and let. Wait a minute, did he not have the right to be in that venue?
He did.
Do people not have the right?
So why are we going to sit there and talk about thanks for coming if he has the right to be in that venue?
I'm from down south. It's called welcoming.
I'm from down south too, bro.
Well, don't you know hospitality?
I'm from down
Here's the
south.
difference, though. What he's not telling you is
Thanks for coming. You don't thank me for going someplace that I've got a right to be. Is what I'm saying.
It's the way that they look at things, the way that they frame
where
things.
I got a right to be. Come on, man. You're invited. I shouldn't be.
There's racists. We would be lynched. I actually have people that work with saying, "Oh, I'm glad you made it back safely."
was a black man
as if I was going to be attacked, if I was going to be harmed, and actually it was quite the opposite. People were very welcoming and inviting. I was there with 11 of my friends, so
they were white.
So even if no one came up and welcomed me, then I still would have had a great time.
We need to find some kind of order here, so everybody can be involved. But let me just say this. Only in a liberal Democrat's mind is the phrase "thanks for coming" is something negative. How can anybody create anything negative out of a phrase that "thanks for coming"? In the back, they think it's their backwards way of thinking about everything. Yep. They want to find something negative in everything a Republican do. Anybody who does something that's not consistent with the way they think, they find something negative in it. Like I said, only a liberal Democrat can find a phrase "thanks for comments" and find something negative in it. I've never seen anything like it.
I'm glad you brought that up.
I've never seen anything like it.
I'm glad you brought that up. Can you being a Republican, and have you declared your candidacy for Congress?
Yes, I have.
So you being a Republican, I haven't seen you nor any other Republican in our community campaigning, asking for black votes. So, excuse me. So, you talk about thanks for coming. When will you or any other Republican come?
My church is always open for black people.
It definitely is, and you've invited them. I've seen that. You talk about being welcoming. The doors in the African American community is wide open. You always talk about the liberal plantation. Then where are your ideals?
I put my ideas out there.
Where are they? When will you meet with us?
I'll meet with you.
Have you campaigned in the black community?
I live in the black community.
I know you do.
Every day I go out here, I'm campaigning.
Excuse me.
Come on,
so I can check your website right now and find now where you've campaigned in the black community. I can find that on your website right now.
Yeah, I campaign every day.
I didn't ask you that. I know you.
Let me say this.
You're glossing over it.
No.
Wait a minute. Excuse me. You're glossing over it.
No.
I asked you a simple question. Have you campaigned? Have you campaigned in the African American community, and where?
Okay. Hold on a second. Where am I now? Is this not the black community?
Excuse me. This is we're on the north loop of where white folks live. Lacey. Now let's be real. Where you live is where black folks live. I know that you're Republican and you don't want to deal with the real.
No.
But again,
this is not the black community to you?
No.
What's the black community to you?
Excuse me. Where you live, brother, is the black community where you see gun violence that you like to be so Pollyannish about on your webpage. Where you live is the community. Where we're at right now on the North Loop, where we can walk across the street and find beautiful $500,000 homes, it's not the black community. No, my man, it is not.
Well,
if you walk 2 blocks over and where there's poverty and crime, that's the black community. And I ask you again, have you campaigned in the black community since you've declared, and where?
Your definition of black community. Go upstairs.
Oh, no.
Go upstairs and look at
the answer is no.
Tell me what color are the customers.
The answer is no.
Just go up there and tell me what color the customers. No, your definition of the black community is just different.
Your question.
Mine is 55411 and 55412.
Your answer is no. So that means no.
Well, see, that's just like you.
You haven't campaigned, and there's no campaign stops in the African.
So what this discussion is framing about the president's visit and then the subsequent conversation is, what are Republicans doing for how are they going to benefit the black community? And that's actually my question, because, you know, I do support the Republican Party, but more so I support Donald Trump. And I want to make that distinction, that the reason why I support Republicans is because of Trump, and it's only because of Trump. It's not because of any other Republicans. And I want to make that clear.
Really?
Because people are saying, well, blacks should exit the Democratic Party. Okay.
To
okay,
what,
fine.
though?
Well, that's what I'm getting to. To what? And that's something that the Republican Party needs to be clear, is what is their agenda for the black community? Because this is the problem with the Democrats. The Democrats, they have no agenda for the black community. We've been voting 90+% for 40, 50 years, and you look at the quality and the state of our communities and what's going on, you can see that they clearly don't care and that nothing is being done.
So we got two parties that don't care.
But wait a second, but if the other choice is the Republican Party, because it's a two-party system, you can vote third party, you can choose not to vote.
That's right.
That's immaterial, because it's a two-party system, it's only two parties. So what does the other party offer? And so for me, especially as an African American, my question that I always ask politicians, I've asked Lacey this on Facebook, I've asked other politicians, what is your black agenda? What are you planning to do to benefit the black community? I asked Jeff Johnson when he was running for governor, what is the black agenda? And he sidestepped that question. He said, well, I want to help all communities. Well, no, I understand that, but what Republicans need to learn how to do is to frame that question.
That's right.
And how those policies that you want to promote everyone, how those policies specifically benefit my community. Because when you ask the LGBTQ community, they don't ask about other people. They want to know how you're going to benefit their community.
Right.
You ask the Jewish communities, that's what they want to know, how they're going to benefit them. The Latino communities, they want to know what you're doing specifically for us. Right. But it's only the black community, we're the only ones that, first of all, we let everybody in, which is mistake number one, and we want to say, oh, well, we're here to benefit and help everyone, but see, it's not being done to benefit us, and that's the problem, that we're helping everyone else, but nobody's helping us. So, I want to know, what is the Republican Party going to do now moving forward for the black community?
Is that a question for
Yeah,
me?
that's a question. You can ask that question. I can answer it too.
My campaign is focusing on in 4 different areas. One is family, one is education, another one is economics, and the 4th one is spirituality. So let me just address on a high level Republicans' agenda in each one of those areas. First of all, if we look at what has happened in the past, what Trump has accomplished in the past, the lowest black unemployment rate in history, the institution of the opportunity zone, where we're looking at free enterprise-based investment incentive to create jobs and wealth in our community. If you look at what he's done for the HBCUs, so I'm saying continuing along those lines and achieving those type of things. And even if you think about 401k, the performance, a lot of us got 401ks. When you look at those types, the prison reform, his prison reform activities that he's accomplished. So those are the type of things that I think are very important for our families. And if you're going to put at least the black family back together, it's going to have to, I believe, start with the black male. And a lot of the stuff he's doing with prison reform and jobs and things like that are specifically helping the black male.
I knew he was going to go there.
Why don't we respect each other here and have some order?
How did I know
Because I can't participate in Wild Wild West type of events. So let's just respect each other and listen, and then I'll give you a chance, and then I'll destroy what you say after you're finished.
I don't know how. You didn't bring no facts.
So,
Not with facts, that is.
And in education, I mentioned HBCUs. Things like more choice in education. Looking at those type of things. Providing more money funding for education. So those are the type of things I also looked at. Economically, we've already hit on some of those things, but really, what I'm working with is just to build an economic system based on for-profit global companies and not an economic system like we currently have, where North Minneapolis is basically 250 nonprofits. And if you think about it, nonprofit and empowerment and financial success, the two things just don't go together. So what we're trying to do is turn this ship from the democratic-focused nonprofit government program to a place where we are capitalizing on the human capital in our community, and we're creating business, creating wealth, and everything else. And then finally, the spirituality. Look, people, I don't care what anyone say. If you're out there lying, stealing, killing, and cheating and stuff, it's going to be tough to make the choices you make. But when I talk about spirituality, I'm talking about understanding that we're all part of a bigger whole. that it's not just about us, that we have responsibility to our families, to our communities, to our city, to our country, and start taking it like that, and even things as simple as, look, stop committing crime. You got to obey the law. Those are the type of things we've got to start focusing on, rather than all these pie in the sky kind of solution, this false goal, fool's gold I call it. So those are the type of things that have been accomplished and that we're looking to accomplish within the Republican Party. And by the way, one last thing. We have, recently, I was raising capital for a for-profit technical company. I reached out to about 20 people, most of them Democrats. And out of that number, the two people that came most forward is everybody they teach us to hate. White, male, Republican, Trump supporters. But believe it or not, because of them, we're about to build a international black technology company that they're not dependent on government. Out of that, I expect for some millionaires to come that create wealth, that stops the generational poverty cycle. Because really, until you get to the generational stuff, and I'm going to come back later because I got some personal stories about what happened to me this week. Because what we've been trying for the last 40 years under Democratic philosophy has not worked. It will not work.
Thank you,
so
Lisa.
I'll deal with that a little bit later.
Tim?
Well, I didn't think this was going to be a campaign speech type thing. But anyway, let's go this here route. Because I knew that one of the things that would be coming up today was, the black male ain't at home with their kids. I know a lot of black males that I'm working with, that I'm dealing with, that's at home. I mean, that's one of the things that Republicans love to try to make black men look bad, right. Saying, well, they're not at home with their kids. I know a lot of black men who are at home doing their job, making sure that their kids are well. And even if they're not in the home, those men are still out there doing what they're supposed to do. So I wish that we can just drop that and stop using that that ugly tag on the African American male who is out here doing the things that he needs to do to take care of his family. I mean, that's just something that, your Candace Owens and Larry Elders love to put out there on the black male. And it's time for us as black men to stop running with that and using that every single chance we get. I mean, pick the black man up, tell him he's doing good. Tell him things are going well. Instead of doing it the way that I always see certain people going after black men. And it's just sad that we gotta beat each other up with that all the time. But we was talking about the Trump rally is what we was talking about. Now I'm gonna throw my 2 cents in because I was down there and I went to both sides of this thing. I was over on the protester side for a while, then I went over to where they was housing or all the Trump protesters was, and I walked around both sides because I wanted to see exactly what was going on, how each side was working, what was being done. So I'm over on the Trump side. I walked around and I talked to a few people who actually recognized me from GL, Garage Logic. I got a big following through them, and I talked to them and everything was fine. I didn't see not one Trump protester over on that side at all. Not one.
So that's a myth.
I'm just saying, while I was there, I'm just talking about while I was over there.
How long were you there?
I was over there for about 45 minutes, and then I went through the Skyway, up to the Skyway, because I can show you, I actually had tickets to go into this thing.
And what time was this that you were there?
I got there probably about 5 o'clock. I would say I was over there probably about 5:30, quarter to 6, that I walked around there, and then I went back over on the side with the protesters. Everything was fine. I even got it on video where I can show you when the Trump supporters came in, and they would come through the crowd, right down the middle of the crowd, yelling, 2020, Trump, Trump, 2020, and they would come through. But when the real stuff happened, and people was talking about these hats that was burned
Right.
in the middle of the street.
Right.
Now, let's make sure that we're all on the same page. Those people came down from Washington. Now, you know how far Washington is from Washington to 5th Street. What are we looking at, 2-3 blocks? So they come down, they start doing their thing, making their chants and all that there. That's how those people got those hats. They didn't buy those hats. They grabbed them off from people who's come down there making, and there was no problems before that. There was no problems before that. When they got down there, they started doing what they was doing. People grabbing hats, started burning them. Everything just went. I always say it takes a match to light a fuse. The match came down off of Washington. That's when that fuse got lit, and that's when everything, I got it, I'm looking at this with my own eyes. I'm not just saying, I'm not like a lot of people who are posting stuff that was up in the Target Center. I'm not a lot of people who is just at home posting this. I was right there when it happened. I watched it. Now, here's the thing that got me about this. You could see it coming. So I'm sitting here thinking, why can't they, okay, they come past the Mounties. The Mounties could have stopped it. They come past the guys on the
MPD
on horses.
On horseback?
They could have stopped it. They could have stopped it. The guys on the bicycles could have stopped it. The guys that was on the side of the, on both sides of the street, going all the way down the street. There were so many cops down there.
Guardrails.
Could have stopped it. That could have been stopped. That didn't have to happen. It did not. That did not have to happen because they could have blocked them off, and then guess what? It's just been two factions screaming, yelling at each other, but through police.
Now, I didn't see any of that, so that just to give my 2 cents on that, because I went another direction. I went towards Target Field, not back out to the Hennepin direction. So when all the stuff went down after the rally about 9:30, and so I didn't see any of that, so I can't speak to what went on, but I was getting text messages from friends who weren't there or people who were heading out saying, well, you know, don't go that way, you know, things are getting bad out there, there's almost a riot, people are being attacked. So when I got out to 2nd Avenue, I was on 5th Street by the light rail, and I could look down, and I could see a line, the police wall, with batons and all that. And I had some friends, we were going to actually go and have drinks at Kieran's, which is right across the street from the Target. It's a bad idea, but they wanted to go that direction. I was like, no, let's not, because, you know, things can go south really fast, which apparently that's what happened. So we went around that. So I didn't see any of the things that happened. I saw it just like most of you on social media, but from a distance, what I could see is hear the commotion and see the police force. But I do want to give credit to the police that I think that they did overall keep things safe. The way that they directed people, they were warning people, take your Trump hats off, which is unfortunate that you have to disguise yourself in your political affiliation. But to keep people safe, they did tell people, you know, hide your signs or leave your signs, take your hats off, and so a lot of people did that. And I think it could have been a lot worse, but I want to give credit to the police department for actually keeping things, you know, pretty safe.
Well, good. Sounds like the Trump rally was good. Let's go back to something you said.
Let me just talk about the Trump rally.
Sure, go ahead.
A couple things. But first, with the black male, the only reason I'm in politics is to present a different way of looking at things to get different results. And I'm saying you have a choice. On the black male, you can continue to say everything is fine, and we don't need to do anything. They're doing their job.
Who's saying everything is fine?
Well, no, just
who's saying everything is fine?
No, quit
That's not
beating
what he
up on it. Well, if I don't have a recording to quote him exactly. I'm paraphrasing here, so I can't quote him exactly.
Well,
so if I need a recording, but my point is, and I'm gonna get distracted by this. Look, I live in this community. When I was running, a lot of those men were on paper and could not vote. They have a hard time finding jobs. I'm in these prisons. I work at the hospitality house. I go to church here. So he can run that on other people and they buy it. I'm not buying it. And I'm saying until we start understanding that that's an issue and address it as a serious issue and face it truthfully, regardless of how it looks to anybody else. We can't, when there's issues out there, you can't worry about how the rest of the world looks at it. This is for us and what we got to do. And so y'all can continue to listen to these apologies.
And Republicans and this, what if you, your party, decided on any ideals that you come up with to combat it? Excuse me, let me finish now, because I've heard you. You've done a lot of glossing over, which is what you do well. You sound like a great politician now. Good for you. But again, I asked you a question that you didn't answer before. Have you campaigned? I haven't seen you. I'm extremely active in this community. Haven't seen you. Haven't seen any Republican trying to make relationships, build relationships with black folks. But again, you come around here, as Tim said, knocking down the black man in a community where you live, where you know that poverty exists and there are problems that exist. Because there's no Republican ideals. You can talk about how long Democrats have been in power, but where have the Republican ideals been? You don't have to be in power in order to come around and assist and help out. You don't need that power. You can bring your financial resources. You can bring your ideals and relationships. You name me a Republican. You name me a Republican that's been around here that builds a relationship with black folks.
Understand? This is part of the issue. This is the part of the issue
that you're not.
Let me finish. No. I'm getting ready to answer.
Okay.
This is part of the issue. We got a lot of non-profit people running around here trying to solve problems. If they don't see you out in the community running around with non-profit, they think you're not doing anything. Well, let me let you know. If you're trying to build a business, guess what? You ain't out in the street. You ain't talking to bankers.
You campaigning. You are running for office. You're supposed to be in the community. So what you're saying is asinine. Your job as a campaigner is to campaign for votes, and I haven't seen you do it. Now you can continue to bluster like you're doing, but answer the question. Where have you campaigned at?
See, you're like you're the typical liberal. Unless you hear the answer you want. Unless you hear the answer you want, it's not the answer. Unless it fits into.
I don't come with the Republican BS. You're right.
Unless it fits into your set. I've been campaigning in the community. You're now campaigning. I'm talking to people in the community right now. I'm reaching the people in community.
In the North Loop. I'm talking about. I'm talking about the North Side.
No. Well, here's the thing. We just the beginning of the campaign.
Oh, when did you declare?
I don't know when the date was. It is not for you to decide my schedule and when I do things. But all I know, I've been out here. I've been to every neighborhood, every house in North Minneapolis.
Maybe your last campaign.
Well, no. Well, we're getting there. I did it last campaign. What makes you think I'm not going to do it this campaign?
Okay,
Come on. Let me just talk about the Trump rally. Look, a couple things. Once again, we're just getting distracted. To me, the most important thing is that Trump was inside that arena talking about issues and problems and solutions. The people outside the arena was the typical liberal Democrat. Their only position is we don't like Trump. And they don't ever come to us and say, these are your issues and these are the solutions. See, we're talking solutions inside of Target Center. Outside, they are cursing, spitting on people, and we're just trying to be polite and talk solutions. And one of my issues is, and I like numbers, I focus on results. And let's talk about issues and solutions. Stop the personal attacks. Stop thinking that everybody who don't agree with you is a bad person, that everybody who don't agree with you is a racist or a bigot. We need to look at the issues facing our community, and I need to hear what their solutions are to the issues. Now, one thing we do know, their solutions they've been trying for 40 years, people, and they have not worked. And so what they're going to sit here and tell you today, let's keep doing what we've been doing. And so that's
So being in there. Hold on, no. Because what he just said was they were in there talking solutions.
Yeah.
Right.
So the whole time he was attacking Ilhan. That's a solution to attack her.
Well, what's the
Look,
shit?
hold on.
Answer that.
Wait a
Answer the
minute.
question.
I think any brother. I know what she's doing. Some of the things she's doing is wrong. But I think if any brother decides to put vile things on his Facebook page about this woman, this woman of color, need to have a seat. Period. And to boo her the way that crowd did, I don't think that's solutions at all. Now, some of the
solution. Republican solution.
So some of the things that she did, we all disagree with it. I totally disagree with it. But if that solution is to get in a building with a bunch of people and say some of the things that they were saying about her, that didn't seem like.
What are some of the things they were saying? What are some of the things they were saying?
That didn't seem like some of the things.
Well, what's un-American? What's un-American about? You like to call her un-American.
Un-American. He called her un-American.
Well,
I didn't call. I don't ever recall.
No.
Oh yes, you did.
He called her.
called him a racist.
I'm not talking to you.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me finish.
So,
Let me finish. Let me finish saying what I'm saying.
She called Trump a racist?
All the time, is that right?
He is a racist.
Once again,
Proof?
Yes, it's proof.
Oh, here we go.
you just said
Proof?
That's the way you want.
see, this is the thing that liberals see the problem
Hold
with
on.
liberals, they like to speak from a place of feelings,
I'm
but not a place of
not
facts.
speaking from.
So-
I'm
but-
not
so-
speaking.
let-
I'm
let me-
asking a simple question.
well,
He said, what was said was, you was in there talking about policies and all this.
And
here.
let me respond to
My
that.
question to you was,
And-
when he's calling this woman un-American and all this here, is that is that right?
Well, here's the thing.
No, I'm asking.
No,
Is that
listen,
right?
Will you give me a
not gonna
chance to
answer
answer? Look, give me a chance to answer. Look,
Right question
wi-
to it. Just say he
look. In an hour speech, you can you can pick and choose all kinds of things when he's not talking exactly about the message,
kinda was
which is
just
what
yes
you
or no
did,
answer.
which is the typical editing, which is
I
the
can-
typical editing
I
job
can-
that you do.
I can answer that.
Yeah.
Well, were you
That's
at the
a
rally?
yes.
Did you see the
A
rally?
yes or no? When I got home,
He
I
talked
watched.
about
when
issues.
I got home, I watched the whole.
And there was
thing.
no
I
issues
taped
talked
it.
in there.
I,
So
I
what's your
didn't, I
point?
didn't say that. I just
Well,
asked
what are you
one
saying?
simple question.
What are you saying? It wasn't all issues?
Okay,
Come on, give me
I'm
a
gonna
break.
ask you one
Give me a
simple
break.
question one more time. We'll see
Okay,
if we
I
can get
answered.
if we can answer it.
I answer it.
We're about
You
to cut,
said-
so
Okay.
quickly.
Okay.
There was policy, and I said, okay, that's fine. But what my question was, calling her un-American, is that right?
Well, it's right in the sense that she's for open borders, which is anti-sovereignty, anti-security.
Absolutely.
Whenever you're for open borders, to me, open borders is anti-sovereignty, anti-security, and it's anti-American. No matter how you slice it.
When you
just want to open the border and let everybody in
when
and
you
give
ran
them
against
free.
Ray Dean last year, when he wanted the Minneapolis police abolished, did you call him un-American?
The police.
I asked you a question. I know you won't answer. Did you call him un-American when he wanted the Minneapolis police abolished? He called for that during the
I
race.
called him something, but
You did
similar
not-
to that. I might
no.
not use that
Did you call him
exact word.
un-American?
Yeah, I might not have used that exact
You did
word.
not, right.
So what
you
you
didn't call
going
the
to
white
say?
man un-American, but you called the
Well,
minority
everything
woman.
you look at it
uh,
in terms of
uh,
race.
uh,
You know, I
okay,
can't help
exactly.
that. I mean, if you
Exactly.
choose to look at everything in terms of
Exactly.
race,
We need to cut.
we can't have conversation at all. If everything boils down to race.
We're taking a break, so we're going to take a break, and then we're going to, for how long are we going to take a break? About
3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Then we're coming back with audience participation for the panel.
Monster step.